Lifted, upturned eyes a la Bella Hadid are catching stares on social media. And joining us is the thread authority, Dina BenDavid, and her patient, Laura, to show us a live procedure to give your eyes an instant lift. So, Dina, you're going to use threads today, right?
Yeah, we absolutely are. So we're going to use fully dissolvable PDO threads that are placed under the skin, and just to open up the eye frame a bit, and we'll show you what they look like. They have little barbs on them, you guys can see, and those little barbs is what allows us to actually lift up the tissue. And so you can see here on Laura, the tail of her brow, I mean, she's young and she's so beautiful, but she was really complaining over the last couple of year or so that she's really just feeling the tail of her brow, so this area here, sort of just feeling heavy. One of the things that she noticed putting makeup on is she wasn't able to use a very thick eyeline that she was used to, and even her mascara was really smudging underneath her brow. And so this area here, you can see the tail of her brow is kind of distended a little bit. So that's what we'll be doing with threads today, is we're just going to place some threads to just sort of open up her eye frame a bit.
Excellent. Dina, can you get started for us? We want to check it out.
Absolutely. All right. So I tend to start in the medial aspect of the brow. So as you can see here, so these little marks, these are for a purpose. So we mapped her out prior to, of course, we already prepped her and numbed her. So these are vectors. Vectors are essentially the angles or the direction at which we're placing the threads. And you might not think it's very important, but it's super important, because how the vector is placed is how the brow is going to look after the threads are under the skin. So we're going to just give her a nice little pop up this way. I'm going to go in. Again, the introducer hole was already made because she's already been numbed. So we're just here in the subdermal space. I just passed, and just past her hairline here. And I'm constantly feeling with my non-dominant hand, because that's key with making sure along with how it's feeling as I'm gliding it in, how it feels underneath my non-dominant hand is key with making sure that I'm in the right plane.
Well, it definitely looks like you better get someone who knows what they're doing.
Yes. That's why you want an expert in passing threads, using thread lift techniques, not somebody who's done a couple. As we know, Dina does a lot of these. She teaches it. That's very, very important. I think, as with all procedures, thread lifts are an exception, that who the provider is and their experience counts a lot.
And Dr. Orton, you've seen some thread lifts go bad, and you've had to go in and fix those, correct?
Well, I have, and there's a couple things there. It's where they were placed, either too superficial or too deep. There have been reactions to them. They've given way, where you had asymmetries. One side had held and the other didn't. So all those things are possible, but in the hands of somebody who's well experienced, trained, that's less likely to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, it might not sound like much. So millimeters, there may only be millimeters of change, but Dr. Orton, you as a plastic surgeon know that millimeters, even though it might not sound like much, millimeters really matter. And as you guys can see on this beautiful patient here, we just had millimeters, and it made a profound difference.
Wow, Dina, let's have you show Laura her results. I want her to see what we see.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah,
that looks good.
She just waved her wand and boom, that brow came up. That's pretty cool.
And how much does something like this cost?
So, you know, it really varies depending on your geographic location and the skill level of the provider, but I would say anywhere between $500 to $1,000 is approximate across the country.
Well, very nicely done. That looks great. You have a very happy patient there, and Laura, you're going to love it.
I'm in love.
All right. If you want to see the before and after results of this instant brow lift, visit our website at thedoctorstv.com.